financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Good morning. Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is Chapter 13 helps with tax problems. This is the topic I've dreamed about talking about and covering in the show. Good morning, Brian Small.
Good morning, Ken. I'm sure nightmares are dreams too.
This is true. Good morning, Jeff Linden.
Good morning, Jeff. See, I was going to say that's probably why you're not sleeping.
Actually, when I sleep and dream about this stuff, I don't know why. Pat Sebastian.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Do you guys do that?
No, I have much more interesting dreams. I'm sorry.
I will be I will be sleeping and I will have good sleep, but I will be dreaming about whatever the current things are that I'm working on at the office frequently. Is that a problem?
Are you allowed to bill somebody for that?
Call? No, it's not. That's called
It's
dream
not the
time.
dream. It's the 2 a.m. awake worrying about what you got going the
That's
next
more
day.
what I've got. That's more like me.
Sometimes it evolves into that where all of a sudden I wake up and I go, oh, I forgot to do this, and then
Yeah.
I have to grab my phone and I send myself an
Yeah.
email.
Right. See, the way you're describing it combined with him would be my version of how you doing? Living the dream. I don't know whose. It's not mine.
Right. And is a nightmare technically a dream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. With that,
Well,
we start.
it's also a golf course up near West Branch.
Great. Thank you, Brian. All right. So, Chapter 13 with tax problems. But before, as the framework for the topic, I just want to throw out the 3-point retirement plan. Own your house free and clear, have zero debt, have some cash in the bank. And the reason why I'm throwing it out there is I'm seeing it day in and day out with clients that I'm meeting with that are in this situation where their business is at the end of the line. It's kind of muddled along, provided them an income, but in today's market, it's not saleable. So it's at a point in time where they really have to close the business. They don't have the outcome and the ability to start a new business. They don't have the energy. They're not at the age, and they don't really have the financial resources. So they're looking at retirement, and they're at retirement age. But I meet with them, and I'm going over them with them, and they have many of them have violated the 3-point plan.
Whoa.
And what that means is they still have a mortgage, they still have 2 car leases, they got credit card debt, which we can certainly get rid of. They got Social Security coming in. They have moderate savings, but they don't have enough to cover their nut.
Let me ask you a question. So you've been doing this for how many years?
42.
Is it getting better or worse lately, would you say? In the last 10 years, in the last 4 years, is it
Well,
gotten
in
better
what
or worse?
perspective?
Well, everything now is politics, right? Make America great again. Is it better now? Or is it worse now in the last 10, 15 years? Is the trend going where the people are doing better in their businesses and planning? Or is it, you think it's worse or about the same?
I'll respond to that.
But you got to look in the context of the financial crisis, but go ahead.
The
Well,
old adage, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer,
Yeah.
is much more true today than it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. There's the haves and the have-nots, and everybody wants to be a have. And the reality is that you look at the stuff where in the 80s they say a shoe salesman could own a house and raise his family. Today there's no possibility of that happening.
Do shoe salesmen still get commission and have an opportunity to really earn a living?
I don't
Is it-
I don't know.
can you
It's
even be a
it's
shoe
it's
salesman?
it's a
Can
it's
you
a
even be a
metaphor.
furniture salesperson? Like, you know, the
Oh,
people that
yeah.
used to work at Art
Oh,
Van
yeah.
were always commissioned,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
not there anymore.
No,
No,
Art Van's
no,
gone,
just-
and I mean,
Well,
big
there's other
furniture-
ones. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
they're
just
there. They
different ones.
can
They're
do
there.
it. Yeah.
I think I 100% agree with what you're saying. This is untread waters. But and so when I look at it, and that kind of ties into this whole political issue too.
Yeah.
Is in some respects, I find the people complaining about the political scene and complaining about high taxes and complaining about inflation and food costs and gas, and the ones that I hear complaining the most are completely financially set. The ones that have nots are complaining about the cost of food, and I recognize it. But better or worse, I think Brian summarized it quickly. I mean, and it also varies on age. For the most part, retirees, I think, are worse off now than 20 years ago.
I agree.
Just look
with
at the
you.
cost
No
of medicine.
pensions?
Look
Well,
at the cost of medicine.
We'll just
Right.
stop
Crazy.
right there because we did an article on that. The reason that they're worse off is because of one thing: they have no pensions anymore. So now they have to rely on their Social Security and their 401k plan. So they see that dropping down here because of that income stream isn't there anymore. And that's the same thing with the kids. The kids are going to be much worse off because they're not saving in their 401ks and they won't have
I
pension.
did see an article in the Journal this week that said there's this trend on 401ks where employers are matching up to 6%, and young people are contributing at a far greater rate than they used to. I read that and said, if that's the case, that's marvelous. Because the thing that I've said to my children are, make the contribution, forget about that money.
Right.
You can never borrow that money. You can never use
Yeah.
that money. You can't touch it. And the other thing I tell them is, you buy your house, you get one mortgage.
Yeah.
You pay it off. You
On-
do not refinance.
On the 401k, that's where we really tell people if they're matching 6, that's free money. So you got to do at least up to the match. The trouble is a lot of the younger people that don't have.
They don't put in they don't even get the match.
They have to. No, well, they put in because whatever the company puts in, they pull out right afterwards because they need to spend it.
Yeah, as a hardship
And
loan.
then they
or
pay
as
the
a,
penalty
As a
on
loan
it.
or a hardship loan?
They just
Or
they
hardship-
just
a
pull out and
hardship-
pay the tax penalty.
That's worse. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Extra 10% penalty just for
Yeah,
being.
yeah.
It's crazy.
All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Chapter 13, helping with tax problems.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
If your loved one is struggling with age-related issues, let our family help your family. Call Samasco Law now. We're family-owned and growing. Meet Joe Frizzard and Kelsey Samasco, our newest superstars. We'll handle your issues with care, compassion, and dedication. At Samasco Law, we'll leave no stone unturned until your family is protected for the long term. We'll walk together. That's what families do. Samasco Law. Protect what matters.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. So, what about Chapter 13? The thing that, the wrapping up on the 3-point retirement plan is people have to recognize it's not about now, tomorrow. It's about where you're going to be in 5 years and in 10 years. If you can meet the 3-point retirement plan, you're guaranteed a comfortable retirement. And when I was 40, I didn't care about that. I didn't think about it. But
now
you're
as an
not-
ancient elder,
you're not 40 forever. That clock keeps ticking, and when you get to the retirement age, then it becomes the most important thing in the world because it's the rest of your life. And if you haven't done anything about it and you wait till 70, it's a little bit on the late side. So, Chapter 13, how can that help with taxes?
all right, so let's start off with a lot of people are borrowing from their uncle, so to speak, Uncle Sam, not paying their income taxes, and they don't hear from Uncle Sam, and then suddenly a lot of collection.
Are you seeing that a lot? Are you seeing an increase in tax problems?
They're pretty steady. I'm seeing more calls now because the IRS has woken up and they're acting now.
I'm seeing increased liabilities. People messing with their,
In terms of the amount?
messing with their withholdings during the year because they're cash strapped, and then they're like, well, I'll figure out how to pay Uncle Sam next week. So
these are W-2 employees that are short on their
W-2
taxes.
employees and also self-employed people are
they're-
not paying their quarterlies.
That's
and
that's the classic problem.
So what Chapter 13 can do for you is, well, there's 3 types of tax debt within your income tax debt. There's secured tax debt, where they have a lien. There's priority tax debt, which is taxes that are less than 3 years old. And there's general unsecured tax debt, which is more than 3 years old. In a bankruptcy, we will restructure and spread out the liened amount and the priority amount over a 5-year period, allowing you breathing room to catch up. The unsecured taxes and the penalties, which are treated as unsecured, will fall off, and we can pay those as little as 0 cents on the dollar.
Like a credit card?
Just like a credit card.
So so I would like to structure my tax planning so that all of my taxes are the unsecured taxes.
So if you do,
I don't want any lien taxes and I don't want any priority
So I
taxes.
can't
How do
help
I
you-
do that?
Pay them.
well, first, that's a great answer. But when you can't
I mean,
pay
how do
them,
those things happen?
so
I mean, I didn't
lot
know
of-
we had 3. Did you know we had 3 types of income taxes, Pat?
we have 3 types of categories within the income tax. But what happens is people will come in, and sometimes we will sit and play the game to get their taxes to be aged out, where we can treat them as an unsecured debt. Jeff and I will.
So what's priority is they're younger?
They're less than 3 years old. A priority tax in a Chapter 13 has to be paid back in full, but it gets paid back at 0% interest, and the penalties stop from the day you file. And since the interest rate
Which is huge
is
today.
8%,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the penalty for non-payment is 25%, and the penalty for non-filing is 25%, that Chapter 13 can really help you get things back in line. And it does a lot of other things. It helps you remember what the concept of Chapter 13 is: structured reorganization over time, where you repay some or all of your creditors some or all of the money that they're owed
for 36 or
for
60
36
months.
to 60 months, or anywhere in between.
So does that work better than a Chapter 7 for taxes?
So Chapter 7, the taxes to be dischargeable have to be at least 3 years old. They had to have been filed for at least 2 years, and you couldn't have been assessed in the last 8 months. If you qualify for a Chapter 7, you're much better off than doing a Chapter 13
For the taxes.
for the taxes. But
You don't always qualify.
most people don't. Either they make too much money, or their taxes aren't more than 3 years old. People do get into tax
This is
problems.
a 3-year-old rule, the priority rule?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole group of people out there that have taxes that haven't filed for 10, 12, 15 years. And then there's that whole group that just got into trouble in the last few years.
Let's talk someone who hasn't filed for 15 years. When they come to you, do you have to catch up all 15 years?
No, I mean the IRS requires compliance, and they look closely at the.
Uh-oh, Pat's falling asleep. What do we got to do?
You know what the problem is? 95% of the people that are watching are doing this right now. But the other 5% that are part of it,
Are
they're
like-
like this.
yeah.
Holy
Right,
sh!
right.
Quiet,
'Cause
come
they
here,
need-
honey, we gotta
Right.
talk here. Come
So
here,
to help
Pat's on.
Pat stay awake, you have to get compliant with the last 6, and they could look back to the last 10. So we'd really focus on the last 6 to 10 years.
So so that's the good news. If you haven't filed for 15 years, you can probably walk in. We get the problems fixed. We only have to deal with the last 6 to 10 years. We don't have to deal with
Unless
11 to 15.
if
They're coming after
they're coming after you, you're the kind of wage earner or somebody that your income is reported to the IRS, and then they could file what's called a substitute for return for you.
Can they do that for the 15 years?
Yeah, they probably won't wait that long. That's probably, you haven't filed in 15 years, but the IRS probably
So
has.
normally that's the self-employed person because they're not getting
No.
W-2 information.
Let me jump in here. Viewers, the people that this means to, get your head out of the sand, pay attention, and call these guys. The rest of the people fall asleep and come back to the next section of elder law.
Yeah, because there is nothing more exciting
right,
than
than
elder
elder
law.
law.
Mom and
Ooh.
Dad in their 90s is like sex on TV.
You know what the funny thing, I hate, you can't minimize this because so many people, the people that are affected by this is a big deal.
Right.
But the funny thing is everybody's getting old and everybody's got a mom and dad that are old. So the elder law, it affects everybody.
It doesn't.
It really, and the people that are in the tax problems, they're going to mom and dad to get money. and
No,
they're
no.
borrowing
I'll
it.
tell you something as we come up to the break. I'm seeing more mom and dad
Isn't
in
it
their
the sad
80s
thing, yeah?
having to go into Chapter 13 bankruptcy, utilizing their Social Security and 401k because they've shelled out so
Yes.
much money for their kids
Yes.
that they're indebted
That
to
was
their
my
eyeballs.
point.
Take
Or
a break.
themselves, right? They don't have the pension, and they got to pay their credit card versus their health, their prescription coverage.
Let's take a break and we'll talk about Mom and Dad in Chapter 13.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
You know, Dad always asked that we look after Mom when he passed away.
I know, but she insisted on moving down to the Villages, and now she has that new boyfriend, and I am worried. Maybe it's time to just call Samasco Law.
Take the stress out of your family's future. Reach out to Samasco Law and set a course through life's difficult times. Samasco Law, protecting what means most because that's what we do.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
So you were talking, Brian, about older people needing a Chapter 13.
So recently, I just filed a case, husband and wife. He's 84, she's 78.
Why would you possibly need to put them into a 13?
Because they borrowed so much money to help their children that they are sincerely at risk of losing their house. They had fallen behind on their house to pay their credit cards and to pay, the student loans that they borrowed to send their grandchildren to school.
Well, they're obviously very nice people.
Yes, they are nice people. They're a lovely couple who never should have borrowed that much money because the student loans aren't going away.
Yeah, let's take two of the things you just said. Because we see that, it's not just elderly people. We see it all the time. People pay their credit cards and the student loan payments. They don't make their mortgage payment. Why do they? That is the absolute opposite of what they should do. You're not going to lose your house if you don't pay your credit cards. You're not going to lose your house if you don't pay the student loan payments.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you have, you got an equity position thing that's going on.
This is the reason. When you don't pay your credit card, this thing goes off
Crazy.
14 times every 30 minutes. Mr. Gross, this is Citibank. We missed your payment this month. If you don't make your payment, it's going to affect your credit. If you affect your credit, you won't be able to borrow any more money, and everything in the world will go to crap. So please, can I get a bank account number from you to make your credit card payment?
You're not wrong. And that's the thing.
What you need to do in that case, and if we were doing visibles, I would show you, would take picture me grabbing a sledgehammer, pulling it out close to a sledgehammer, and when that phone goes off because they're calling you, you take the bang and you bang the phone until it breaks, and then you never have to use the phone again because it's a waste of money anyway, and then they won't call you. And then if they don't call you, you can make your mortgage payment.
Anyway,
the passion.
Here's the beauty.
I love the passion.
Here's the beauty of chapter
I'm trying
13.
to fix things from the tax
it's
conversation.
fantastic.
You understand that
I
you
love
just
it.
you just took away their
You just
ability to
woke me
call
up.
us for help, right?
You can call us on your cell phone.
Here's the thing. The chapter 13 is
1-800
going
call
to,
Ken.
it doesn't make it super comfortable, but what it does is allows people to come back into the live, eat, sleep, breathe, be happy zone and pay what they can afford towards their debt. And even though the student loans may be there at the end of the chapter 13, we can roll into another chapter 13. Controlling the debt is as important as eliminating the debt. And that's what chapter 13 can do. And in this case, for an elderly couple whose income is limited to Social Security for him and Social Security for her, at the end of the day, they get to live their life.
That you brought up another one that I wanted to ask you about. Chapter 13 also can help us. Suppose I have a client or somebody who's embezzled money or who defrauded someone and they have judgments against them for fraud or embezzlement, things that are considered non-dischargeable
Let's
in
talk about
bankruptcy.
Giuliani. That's a big thing now. He's
Okay,
got
so
that
those
case
debts,
with Giuliani.
so reorganization allows you to control what you pay back, okay? And to the extent that of what you can afford. The debt may survive the discharge of the bankruptcy. If you sue someone in civil court and you get a judgment for fraud.
So if you're in a 13, that protects you for up to 5 years,
Yep.
and then you could file another 13,
That's
right?
correct.
So that's a way. So there's
But
a
it's
way of
also
dealing with the
potentially
problem.
it's also potentially dischargeable. You see, you get a judgment against someone for fraud, and then they file a 13, and you don't follow up with an adversary lawsuit to deny them the
The
discharge.
creditor has to sue in the.
So it's two lawsuits, right? Well, sometimes you're like looking at going, why am I throwing good money in after
Yeah, why
bad?
hire an attorney to sue in the bankruptcy court for fraud that I already sued on once before, and then even if I win, I'm not going to get any money?
Or very little.
So the big question here right now that everybody is asking the same question in their mind is, why the hell has Ken got a big baseball bat underneath his desk?
It's Louisville Slugger.
It's a normal sized baseball bat.
When I was younger, I had to, and Brian was also younger.
That's when he
I had
wants
to
a
come
pay
up.
raise?
I had to come up with a system and a methodology of keeping control of things when people got out of hand.
Yes.
And then somebody, I think, gave this to me as a birthday present.
There you go.
And so I've always kept it here. And
Never took it home because you don't want Bonnie to have access to it.
No, and when I was younger, I used to kick doors every once in a while. And you know how doors are like thin?
Now they are.
Yeah, so it's like I remember it was previous house, so that was a long time ago. Kick the door, and then I had to put a piece of paper over the spot where the door had the hole in it.
Quick recap before we end up and
sold
come out, run out of time. Chapter 13 allows you to restructure the debt. It'll allow you to repay your tax debt over time. It will let you take a fraud judgment and control it. It lets you control student loans. It gives you the ability to restructure and remain safe in your household without losing your house. That's what Chapter 13 can do for you.
Very well said. But as a closing comment, I want to say, don't you ever interrupt me again. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.